what I wanted to show you was something simple. Susan is our in-house expert on Pop-Up Card Studio, and I'm a beginner. So I want to help the beginners with Pop-Up Card Studio with a simple design that I saw at Split Coast Stampers last week. I like to always try to see if I could cut these designs on my cutter instead of doing them by hand when I see the designs. So I'm going to open Pop-Up Card Studio. I'm going to set my width to a standard, or card size to a standard A2 size, 5.5 inches wide and a height of 4.25 inches, and click on Create. I'm going to show you pictures of what I want to do here. This is going to be a three-step card, pop-up card. And I think if I do a slideshow, you can see these a little closer. These were from Split Coast Stampers, and you can see that there are 3 levels of flowers on each of these. On this one, the water's on the bottom step, and this is the empty card. So you see the 3 steps there. So as it slides through these again, you can cut out any kind of shape and you can put them on the steps. Now that second one has the steps, the card turned over on the side with the sentiment out to the side instead of on the top. So the sentiments to the right and the pop-ups are sideways on the left. So that gives you kind of an idea of what you might do with these 3 steps. So we're just going to do a very, very simple card, and I want to just talk through some of the thought process in how you go about setting up a pop-up card. I forgot, I already had it open. Okay, so you're going to click on New, set your size up, and create. First, when you're thinking about this, you want to decide, well, how thick do you want each step? Right now, the default spacing between the first grid here and the back of the card is 1 inch. Now, if I'd like to have my steps be 1 inch apart, this one might be the back step, and then I'd have 2 more steps coming out. If you wanted to have, let's say, a 1/2 inch between the steps, this grid here would be the middle step. So in the design that we're working on, I decided I think I would like my steps just to be a 1/2 inch apart, to give me a little more room to put maybe a sentiment down at the bottom, or maybe at the top too, and have plenty of room to put my things, my designs on. What they did is they put one design on a small front step, they put another wider design on the middle, and another one on the back step, and then they use pop dots on the very back layer of the card to even raise it up a little to give it some dimension. So once you know how far back you want the steps to be, it helps you to know where to put the planes. Well, I'm going to start with this plane position at 1 and make it the center step of the card first because it's the biggest. So I put the 1 in the top position box, 1 inch. And I'm like Susan, I'm going to click on the heart to get to the library, and I'll click on polygon because it's a very simple card. Anybody can do this, so I want to see everybody do something with this. Double click on the square, and I'm going to copy. Was this one copy? Yes. Copy that square because I'm going to use it several times. Now you notice when you selected it, it went to the plane that was selected, and we had the plane set at 1 inch. Now I want the front of the card to be 1 inch tall, but I want it to stretch to the back when I fold it over, and it will fold over an inch. So I really need that box to be 2 inches high. So I'm going to select that box by clicking on it, and I'm going to make it 2 inches tall, 1 inch for the front of it and another inch for the top of it. And I think I'll make it 3 inches wide. So I'll type 3 and press enter. Down on the position and size boxes on the bottom. Now to center a card, you can click on the vertical center icon. That'll put it right in the center of your card. And then I want it to go to the bottom of the card, or to the bottom plane. So I'm going to click this. Now that puts it right in the center. Now if you look at it this way, or let's say we look at it from the side, you see this is 1 inch out from the back of the card, and it's 2 inches high. And I just want to fold it over. So I'm going to go to the 5th icon from the right, click on fold, and it will fold back to the back of the card, and I accept that. So now we can see we have a 1 inch step there. That's what I wanted. Now the next step I want to make it a 1/2 inch out from this step. That means I need to move the plane to 1.5 inch. 1.5 and enter. Now if we look at it, you'll see that this plane moved out a 1/2 inch in front of that box. Now I'm going to use the paste in place clipboard up here, paste. It's going to paste that same square that I used before. Now I want this one to be only a 1/2 inch tall, and I only need it to fold back a 1/2 inch to meet this other box. So I'm going to click on the align to the bottom plane, or just send it down to the bottom, and I think I'll just manually move it over pretty close to the other end here, and again just fold it back and accept. So now I have a front step, and I'm almost done. What I want to do now is I want to put another step on top of this box, but a 1/2 inch back. Well, this plane was at 1 inch, so I'm going to take this back to a 1/2 inch, 0.5, enter. So you see that this plane moved back to the 1/2 inch mark. Or, maybe I want it to be 3/4 of an inch. I won't do that because then that gets into math. But I'm going to paste that square to the active plane, and this time I'm going to move it over and send it down and fold it in half. It goes to the back, and now I think maybe I'm going to undo that first, and I'm going to Control Z is undo, just like in Make Cut. I'm going to move this over a little bit. That way I can put a design on the front of this step. I can put a design over here on this part of this step, and then I can put a big or small design on the top step here and fold it back. And then I have room up here to put another design, maybe a print and cut design, or flowers, or Happy Mother's Day, whatever you would like to put. And then you can just put a pop dot under it to raise it up a little bit from the back of the card. And you've got now your basic tri-step pop-up card. So let's go to File and Print Preview just to make sure. Now you notice that my card has solid lines. The red lines represent valley folds. The blue lines represent mountain folds. Now I have mine set up to do solid lines because I use an engraving tool to make my score lines. I have a lot of problems with my pop-ups tearing when I use the blade and dashes. So I've gone to doing solid lines. And the way that I'll show you in a second. I just wanted to give you a side view of this card here. so you can see where the steps are. Now this, again, you could design shapes and make them right here in this software, but this is a generic card that you can just use for many, many different things. So your homework for this project would just be to make a tri-step card. You can make it with fatter steps or thinner steps or more steps. Doesn't have to be 3 steps, but I'd like to see what you can do with it and share with us your creative photos. So you can make the pop-up card right here. You can actually cut it in this software to the same cutters that works with Make the Cut, or you can export as SVG to use in your other software for other cutters. But I'm going to go to File and click on Rendering Options. So on Rendering Options here, I've selected all the cut lines to be solid. I've selected all the mountain lines to be solid. If you wanted them to be dashed, short dashed or long dashed, you could choose those. And the color I've chosen is blue, so you can actually change the color. I've also rendered the hinge lines solid and the valley lines solid, and save those so that when I open this software, it'll give me those options automatically. Now if I want to cut this, I go to File and Export, and then Project Rendering. From here, I can send it to one of my machines. I can send it to any of the machines that work with Make the Cut, or I can send it as an SVG, or I can send it as a PDF if I actually want to be able to cut it by hand. I'll send this as an SVG just to show you what happens. So this is PCS3. I'll just call it Tri-Step 9. Save it to my desktop. I'm just going to open in the software that I've designated for opening SVG files, which happens to be the InView software. Well, I need to change it to InView anyway if I'm going to cut to InView, because we don't have the plugin yet for Make the Cut. So when I want to cut it, it comes in right exactly at the right size. I'm going to click on the cutter icon, and in this software I would indicate first of all that I'm going to be engraving, and I'm going to select only the red and blue lines that are going to be engraved. Then I'm going to go ahead and send that to my cutter. When that's done, I'm going to select Cut, and I'm going to select just the cut lines to cut those and send it, and then I'm done. So it also works in Make the Cut. Or let's say I want to go to cut it on my Cricut. Let's see what happens in that software. When I sign in, I'll go to Cricut Design Space and do a new project and upload images, vector upload. I'm going to browse for that file, which was Tri-Step 9, open, and there we have the card. I'll save it and click on it to add it. And in this software, I'll change the color here to a lighter color. In this software, I just have to indicate to do a score line for that, and a score line for this, and a cut line for this, and then it's ready to go. So it automatically will, since it has a scoring blade and a cutting blade in the same, works at the same time, I can do it all in one pass. So it'll score all of these blue and red lines that I had, and it will cut all the black lines. So if I want to do that in Make the Cut, I can just go to Make the Cut, and again I can click on the SVG. There's no need to really do it in Make the Cut because the same cutters work. But once I get into make the cut, again, I can change that color, and I'll send the background card to its own layer. Then I have the solid lines that I hide, and I will do the scoring lines first in the first pass with my engraving tool or my embossing tool, and then I will do the cutting lines with my blade in there.